is high with about 270.46 million shares traded. Advancers are outnumbering decliners by a wide margin. In commodity markets, gold is up $1.73 to $1,117.07. Silver is up 4 cents to $14.28. And crude oil prices are up 34 cents to 33.56. In bond markets, the 30-year Treasury yield is currently at 2.73%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is at 1.92%. In local stocks today, Amazon is down $52.88. Costco is down $1.73. Boeing is up $1.01. Starbucks is up $1.21, and Microsoft is up $2.27. This is Sherry of Everett Jones, a member of the SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice. We are located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3, Suite E in Shelton. Or you can call Karen or I if you have any questions at 426-4590. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. It's 8:32 now at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. And the latest in local news is up now, brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. New survey results have advocates for a Shelton Community Recreation Center moving forward and recruiting community leaders to help. Rob Wilson-Haas with Save Our County's Kids, a nonprofit grassroots neighborhood organization started in 1997 to serve Mason County's at-risk youth, addressed more than 40 who attended a community meeting Wednesday night at Shelton Civic Center. He said the survey results were surprising.
When it came back, we were really pretty surprised. What we think it says is that we really need to keep pushing this along because the answers to the survey were pretty positive.
The survey of 400 households conducted late last year in Mason County excluded Belfair because of its distance from Mason County. According to the survey, interest in a multi-use facility that includes an indoor pool, gymnasium, and other features runs very high. 61% said they were very interested, and 61% recommended high priority for a facility that includes a pool, gym, rock climbing, bowling, multi-purpose classrooms, daycare, youth and senior programs, an indoor track, teen activities, and a cafe. The Recreation Center would be linked to Shelton School District's Graduation Matters Shelton, which District Superintendent Alex Apostle introduced during a recent forum. Apostle, who attended the Recreation Center meeting, encouraged the effort, saying it would make a great statement about Shelton. With the Belfair Precinct Station of Mason County coming up on its second anniversary, the Sheriff's Office Chief Criminal Deputy Ryan Sperling joined business owners at the North Mason Chamber of Commerce luncheon Wednesday and was joined by Deputy T.R. Rankin, who has patrolled Belfair and North County for more than 20 years. Sperling had some good news to share. Crime trend statistics showed that burglaries declined slightly in the past 60 days, from 5 in December to 4 in January. The Belfair area also had a 40% reduction in thefts, 16 in December and 9 in January. In the past year, Sperling said burglaries have declined by 28%, from 83 in 2014 to 61 in 2015. During that same period, the number of thefts fell from 122 in 2014 to 112 in 2015. 9 community and technical colleges in Washington have been named among the nation's top 150 community colleges by the prestigious Aspen Institute and are now eligible to compete for a $1 million prize. Among the colleges in the running for the 2017 Aspen Prize for Community College Excellence are Olympic College in Bremerton, Renton Technical College, South Puget Sound Community College, and Tacoma Community College. Prize winners will be announced in early 2017. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
The craziness is returning to the kennel.
Wiltshire behind his back with a dribble, and he scores. Then Kornowski to his left, pulls up, shoots, scores, and a foul.
Zags basketball from IMG.
Corners, Nelson driving baseline and a two-handed throw down dunk. Oh my goodness, Silas Nelson.
From tip-off to the final buzzer.
And throws it down with two hands.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Bulldogs basketball, the Gonzaga IMG Sports Network.
The Raptors are ripping it up. The NBA All-Star Reserves announced, and third-ranked Iowa gets picked off. Hi, everybody. Todd Ant reporting on sports. While Toronto prepares to host the NBA All-Star Game in a little over 2 weeks, the Raptors are playing record-setting basketball.
Lowry, three ball in the air, got it again. Down the bottom of the well for Kyle Lowry.
On Sportsnet 590, Lowry 26 points, and the Raptors down the shorthanded Knicks 103-93. Toronto's rattled off 10 straight wins for the first time in club history. And the Bulls had little trouble with the Lakers last night.
Butler with another steal. Butler on the runway, and Butler with back-to-back steals and scores.
On WMVP, Butler with 26 points, 10 assists, handing the Lakers their 8th straight loss, 114-91. Despite Anthony Davis sidelined with a concussion, New Orleans picked up a win with Ryan Anderson picking up the slack.
Anderson for three. Bang, he got it. Anderson with a new season high.
36 points for Anderson, heard on WRNO. Pelicans handled Sacramento 114-105. The NBA Reserves announced Thursday, and Golden State has 3 All-Stars for the first time in 40 years. Draymond Green and Klay Thompson joined teammate Steph Curry on the West team. San Antonio's LaMarcus Aldridge also added. ESPN's NBA insider Kevin Pelton takes issue with that.
Honestly, if I was going to go with the second Spur, it would have been Tim Duncan instead of Aldridge.
DeMarcus Cousins, James Harden, Chris Paul, and Anthony Davis all added for the West. Raptors' DeMar DeRozan will represent the home team. He's joined by fellow East Reserves Jimmy Butler, Andre Drummond, Chris Bosh, John Wall, Paul Millsap, and Isaiah Thomas. College hoops, Iowa had their 9-game winning streak come to an end at Maryland.
So Suleiman takes it in, very strong, and a foul.
On ESPN, 8th-ranked Maryland knocks off number 3 Iowa 74-68. Arizona's 49-game home winning streak is over after Oregon picked off the Wildcats 83-75. Notre Dame lost at Syracuse 81-66. Hot stove free agent pitcher Doug Fister signs with the Astros. The Yankees and pitcher Ivan Nova avoided salary arbitration. Todd Ant, ABC Sports.
Good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Looks like we got the video back up and working. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll check the sports in just a second, but quickly, what's going on in the forecast for the day?
Well, it's some light rain and it's 42, but it feels like 38.
Shelton High Climbers put up a good fight on the mat last night, but lost a tough one to Lincoln, 45-18. 2 Shelton wrestlers recorded wins by pin, while 2 others won by decision. The win crowns the Abe's Narrows League Conference champions. Shelton will finish second. And be sure to check out the website later today as Sports Director Sean Wells will have full video highlights from the match. Last night on the radio, we had Gonzaga basketball for you, and Kyle Wiltshire scores 35, and Gonzaga coasts past Santa Clara 84-67. He was 7 for 10 from the 3, and 35 points, as I mentioned, helping to beat Santa Clara, sweeping the season series last night. The Bulldogs are now 16-5 and 8-2 in West Coast Conference play. We have another game for you tomorrow as they take on the San Francisco Dons at about 4:40. At the Narrows Diving Championships yesterday, John Nextel and Troy Crumples from Shelton have advanced to state, and top 4 includes also Zach Netzel and Mikey Willis. Congratulations to those 4 Shelton divers. They finished in the top 4 spots ahead of Wilson and Foss at the Narrows Diving Championships. Looking at the Shelton school schedule here and an email from Athletic Director Jim Judson. Today is the 29th, and we have got, as I mentioned, maybe I haven't mentioned it yet, we've got basketball on iFIBER1newsradio.com tonight, Lincoln, and the dance team will perform at halftime. So we'll get that coverage underway right around 7 with Sean, and I'll be in tonight for that, Sean and I, because it's bingo karaoke night.
Well, yeah.
At the Pavilion.
And, you got to go.
Terry goes to that, so I need to cover for him.
We really need to get some video of him doing that.
We just need to go and watch Carol sing. Also, boys swimming with the Narrows League Championships and the Mount Rainier Dive Meet is all coming up. Also, a couple wrestling tournaments happening this weekend and bowling in the district tournament as well. That's all this weekend. Checking out with the weather, here's Carol.
Good morning. It's 42. We have some light rain, and we'll have continuous showers this afternoon. Tomorrow will be cloudy, maybe some sun. Sunday, cloudy with a chance of rain. And right now, it's 42.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at 8:42 on iFIBER One News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner, and Daybreak at KMAS.com is the email to get us into the station here. If you've got something to pass along or an interesting news note that it would be important for us to pass along, please send it on in. I'm looking at some of the latest from the Associated Press. There's been a couple news stories coming down the pike. Spokane is in the news on some fire investigations, and here's one from Seattle. A judge has issued over $1 million in fines in a competency case. We'll have those stories forthcoming on iFIBER One News Radio. Take a quick break and be right back on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Time now for your latest KMAS ski report. Now, we know goggles is kind of standard operating equipment when you're on the slopes. You'll definitely want to keep them handy, maybe have your hood pulled over as well. You're skiing in falling snow from now through the weekend, and that's pretty good news. May even get some powder skiing as several inches will accumulate at the mountains at Summit at Snoqualmie West, Central, and Alpental. All three spots are skiing and riding day and night. They're very close to 100%, and we're looking for some powder skiing, especially late Friday into Saturday and Sunday. Crystal Mountain with 56-pack powder trails. They're skiing and riding just about everything. A lot of groom trails there, and at Mission Ridge, too. But once you get off the groom, you're going to find some of that fresh powder, too. Stevens Pass, 4 to 7 inches of fresh snow, 50-pack powder trails, and more snow where that came from. Mount Baker is 100%. Conditions flipping to powder at Mount Hood Meadows and Mount Bachelor in Oregon with fresh powder falling. I'm Chuck Devine for KMAS News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and it's time for Radio Real Estate. And we have Dawn Pinnell in studio. Morning, Dawn.
Good morning.
How you doing? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
I like that you're coming in, and we have the shows before. I was always going and looking at the listings while I was editing the programs and listening to them. Again, there's always such great information. I've always got questions. And now we've got a great opportunity to do some back and forth on this.
That's right. I'm not going to have a specific listing today, though, or for the next couple of times, because I want to do something a little bit different.
Okay.
And spend the next couple of installments of riveting radio real estate talking about the nuts and bolts of how you go about this whole process.
Man, you think about these houses, $300,000, $250,000. That's a chunk of change for somebody.
It is probably the biggest investment that anybody makes in their lifetime.
Right.
So, and it's confusing sometimes. So I thought I would kind of just walk through the process.
Awesome.
And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, because your questions would probably be similar to what other people would ask as well.
Okay.
Great.
So first of all, the first time today, I want to talk about listing your house.
Okay.
So say you have a house that you've decided you want to sell. First of all, this is a really good time to do that, because as we talked a little bit about last time, the inventory is way down. And I did some research on it, and according to the experts that I looked at, overall in the whole general area, the listings are down 29% from what they were last year.
Wow.
So that's a big drop. And the problem with that is that people are hesitant to list their house because they're afraid they might not find another one to live in.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, so that is a concern. But the good news is that means that there are an awful lot of buyers out there who are looking at properties. So if you are at all in the market to list, this is a good time to do it, because we need houses to sell to people. So how do you do that? First thing you do is call me at 490-4493, or come see me at my office, which is on the corner of 3rd and Railroad, right behind the clock tower, right across the street from the post office. John L. Scott Real Estate in beautiful downtown Shelton. So best to call me, because I'm kind of in and out of the office, but we can certainly make an appointment to have you come in and see me. And then what we'll do at our initial visit is talk about your property, and you can kind of give me what you like about it, because chances are what you like is what other people are going to like as well. And we talk about things like how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what the lot looks like, how many square feet the house is, that kind of thing. And then I usually set a time to come out and see your house, so that I can get a firsthand view of it. And kind of what I'm looking for is what makes your house different than other houses in the area.
So you want the house to be a little different? Because I've always heard you want the house to be more neutral. So
the house itself, when you're selling, yes, you want it to be fairly neutral, because you want other people to be able to picture their furniture and things in the house. But when you're putting together a listing, you want to have something that kind of sets it apart from other houses in the area, so that you can say, hey, this one has great landscaping. This one has an extra bonus room.
Okay, so what the unique points are.
Yes. Okay. And I usually try and take a look at that before I do any kind of market analysis. So that's the next step, is that once I've been out to see your house, I come back to my office and I do what's called a competitive market analysis, or CMA. And I want to just read you a definition of that comes from the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, because I thought it was pretty clear. It says the competitive market analysis will help you determine the correct selling price of your home. Ultimately, the correct selling price is the highest possible price that the market will bear. The market analysis is divided into 3 categories: comparable homes that are currently for sale, comparable homes that were recently sold, and comparable homes that failed to sell. Looking at similar homes that are currently offered for sale, we can assess the alternatives that a serious buyer has from which to choose. We can also be sure that we are not underpricing your home. Looking at similar homes that were sold in the past few months, we can see a clear picture of how the market has valued homes that are comparable to yours. Banks and other lending institutions also analyze these sales and determine how much they can lend to qualified buyers. So that's pretty important. And then looking at similar homes that failed to sell, we can avoid pricing at a level that would not attract buyers. So those are the 3 components that I look at, and ultimately come out with probably about a 15, 16-page printout that shows those three items, those three houses that are comparable to yours, and then we kind of set a range.
So would those be based on square footage and bedrooms or area?
Or a lot of both.
Okay.
Or and more and more. We try and keep it in the same general area. We try and keep a similar square footage. A number of bedrooms always makes a big difference. Number of bathrooms, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's based on all of those criteria.
Have you ever had one property that just was so unique that you could not comparably compare it?
That absolutely does happen, and then it just becomes a conversation with the sellers as to what our best guess is. And sometimes you're wrong, and the market will tell you that. If you list the house at a way high price and you don't get anybody looking at it, then obviously you've made an error in judgment. So do I have time to tell a quick story about that?
Yeah.
I had a house that I was asked to list. It was actually up in Packwood, which was kind of outside my area, but it was a family situation, so I agreed to list the house. This was a case where the dad had died, and these are the kids that were selling the house, and of course, they loved their dad, they loved his house, and they thought it was worth $500,000. And it wasn't.
Right. So more sentimental.
Yes. So we kind of went back and forth a little bit, trying to talk to them about, and I usually try and tell this to people that I'm talking to at some point, and I try and pick my time to where it doesn't sound too harsh, but ultimately, the house is only worth what somebody else is willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
So, you have to take that into account. So anyway, with this one, they wanted to list it at $499. And I finally talked to them about starting at $399, which was still about $100,000 overpriced. But we started there. They got an offer right off the bat for $285. And of course, they were insulted and they turned it down. So then the house sat on the market for a year with no other offers, and sat empty for a year, which is deadly for a house. Stuff starts breaking, stuff starts going wrong. So what had to happen is they finally had to get to the point where they realized that this wasn't their dad's house anymore, and it was in Packwood, which was a ways away. So we finally got to the point where we listed it, dropped the price to $299, which is probably about where it should have started. And shortly after that, we got another offer for $282. They accepted that offer, but then during the inspection, we had to replace a water heater, we had to replace a furnace because it had been sitting for so long. So ultimately, when the house finally sold, they probably netted right around $250, which is quite a bit less than $500.
Yes.
So you really have to be careful and you have to be able to step back from your house and take a look at it and really be aware of how the market sees it, not how you see it, and not because you're not selling your memories, you're selling the house.
Yeah.
Right.
So when we come back next time, I think I'll spend some time talking about that process of setting that price, because there's a real science to it. And we'll talk about that a little bit.
So you have to be educator and counselor on a little bit.
That's the majority of the job, And a lot of times people do get a little irritated. They want to hear that their house is worth way more than it really is. So it's hard a lot of times not to be able to tell them that, but I decided very early on that all I can do is be honest. And I've had cases where they don't like that, and so then they list with somebody else, which is fine. That happens. That goes with the territory. So, but it doesn't mean that I would not be honest with folks about what the market says their house. It's not even what I say. It's what the market says. It's all based on what is actually selling in your area for a house that's similar to yours.
Radio Real Estate every other Friday here on iFIBER ONE Newsradio with Dawn Pinnell. You can give her a call from John L. Scott, 426-3319.
Yes, that's the office phone, or my cell phone is 360-490-4493.
And either way can get to Dawn, and we'll be back again in 2 weeks to talk about how do you price these things.
Exactly, yeah.
If you have any questions for Dawn during our process of learning how to become a homeowner, you can always email us at daybreak@kmas.com, and then we can share those questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dawn.
Yeah, thank you.
It's 8:55 here at iFIBER 1. We're going to hear from the Old Farmer's Almanac right now and then get ready to wrap things up on a Friday, tell you what's coming up this weekend and more
That was good.
on the radio.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER 1 News Radio.
Is the January thaw real or just fanciful weather lore? A closer look today from the Old Farmer's Almanac. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report for Friday, January 29th, the 29th day of the year. Oprah Winfrey and Tom Selleck are sharing a birthday, and Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven was first published on this day in 1845. Did you have a January thaw this year? Experts still disagree whether a January thaw is a predictable occurrence or just an occasional blip in midwinter temperatures. And even the word thaw doesn't mean widespread melting. In colder northern regions, a warm spell in any period is when temperatures climb to at least 10 degrees above the average. In January, that's the upper 20s for many areas. One thing the experts do agree is that the January thaw doesn't signal an early spring. You can almost always count on it being followed by a February freeze. That's the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report. Find more weather lore at almanac.com.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER 1 News Radio, AMAS.
It's 8:57 here at iFIBER 1. It's going to be a lot of fun, this process of home buying.
Yeah,
it's
it's interesting.
Go back over my brain of the deal again. For a full disclosure, it's important to do. At John L. Scott, Christy Buck was the one who helped me buy the house, so we're just going to put that out there so people know. But you can get in touch with Dawn, and every other week, every other Friday at this same time, we'll do that process. Maybe something you're thinking about,
right? And if you want to re-listen to what she had to say, we'll have that on our website.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting. Nervous energy. I remember that was a lot of that with
well, you're making a big deal and you have to make a commitment. You made a lot of commitments that year, it seems like.
I did. There was a lot. Made a lot of decisions. 6:58 here at iFIBER 1 News Radio, and a good morning to you.
6:58?
8:58 here at iFIBER 1. We're going to get ready to wrap things up here with Tom Hartman waiting in the wings. He'll be on the air just after the news at 9, and then Chad Benson after Dave Ramsey, and then tonight we'll have Alex Jones at 6 until 10, and Overnight America from 10 until 2. You can find the full lineup on iFiber1newsradio.com. Gonzaga basketball tomorrow. We've got on the radio, on the website tonight, a video cast of high climber basketball. I want to say good luck to every one of the students who will be participating in the games and sports events over the weekend, including today's swimming championships at Mount Tahoma. There's also some Mount Rainier dive meets that are going on. So good luck to the swimmers. Wrestling tomorrow, Kentwood girls tournament and the Kentwood JV tournament are going on. And then there's some bowling as well going on from Pacific Lane. So good luck to all the high climbers as we start to put the wraps on winter sports.
Yeah.
And spring sports are just around the corner.
I know, it's crazy.
With the, what are they?
It's end of January.
Yeah, no, I got it. This is a fast month. All right, thank you, Carol.
Have a good weekend.
We've been on the air together a month already?
4 weeks.
But who's counting?
I'm counting.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER 1 News Radio.
Alex Jones and InfoWars on from 6 to 9 weekdays on iFIBER 1 News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 103.3 KMAS Shelton.
Here's a latest from ABC News. I'm Daria Aldinger, and we have breaking news out of Texas where we are learning the so-called affluenza teen will not be going to adult court, at least not for now. A judge just ruling that Ethan Couch will be held in juvenile detention for the time being. Members of Mothers Against Drunk Driving are protesting outside the courthouse. Colleen Sheehy Church says Couch belongs behind bars.
It will not only be an insult to the families